This is Light Chasers, Season 1, Episode 2. Let's get it. Hey, what is up? I'm so excited that you're joining us today. This is Light Chasers Podcast. My name is Brian Fitton, and this is a different type of podcast for a new generation of photographers and filmmakers. There's no bougie photographers or snooty photographers on this show. This is just honest, authentic, raw, real people who are honestly just trying to make cool images and cool films and put them out into the world and make a living while doing it too. So I'm so excited that you joined us. If you're listening to the audio version of this, you can check out all the images and show notes. We have those for you at lightchasers.live, L-I-V-E. Make sure you check that out. And then also, we do a live show on Facebook Live. There's a lot of live in this description here. But anyway, we do a live show where we do a lot of commentary and comments back and forth with different people who are tuning in and asking questions of our guests. And so I really encourage you guys to check that out. You can check that out on our Facebook page, Light Chasers. We'll eventually be going live on Instagram and YouTube once we figure out that technology. This is all still kind of new, even though it's been around for a little while. But anyway, we're getting there. So I hope you enjoy this episode. It's actually with Brooke Cagle. You can check out her stuff at brookecagledesign.com. She actually has a ton of images that have been viewed and also used off of Unsplash.com. And if you don't know what Unsplash is, it's an amazing resource for, honestly, free images that are just fantastic. So make sure you check out Unsplash.com. But she kind of goes through her story and how she got started, and also how she's gotten really involved with Unsplash and been able to explore that whole area of stock photos. So anyway, thank you guys so much for joining us. We're going to go ahead and kick it off right now. If you want updates about new episodes that come out, make sure you subscribe. And then also, like I said, go to lightchasers.live. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and go into the interview right now. Let's go. Welcome, Brooke Cagle, to the show. Hi, Brooke. How are you?
Hi, good.
Thanks so much for joining us. And it's so sad. I have to just say this up front, that you are now officially not in Arkansas, and you're sitting you're sitting somewhere else. Where are you currently sitting at?
I am sitting in the basement of my new apartment in Ames, Iowa. So
Wow.
As of like a week ago, I became an Iowan, but I'm only going to be here for 10 months, and then I'm going to Kansas. So
Nice.
I'm pretty excited about it.
Nice. That's pretty awesome. So I know that you're on to bigger and better things and awesome stuff in your life, which I'm so happy for you, but so mad at you at the same time. So
I've been getting that a lot.
I'll bet. All right. So I wanted to represent my Onyx hat today because Brooke, you had a little to do with the Onyx branding and whatnot, right? I also have my Onyx cup
I
here.
worked at the agency for 3 years, and one of my very first projects actually working for Black Box, which was the agency, was making their menu. I didn't do any of the branding necessarily as far as the logo or anything goes, but I got to help with the menu and some other little promotional materials for them, and then I did quite a bit of photography for them as well. So it was super fun getting to just like go in the coffee shops and like take pictures of all of my friends that was there. It was a pretty good job.
Yeah, so it's interesting, and we'll kind of get, this is just a sidebar, but I've noticed, especially with some of their social media, which they do a great job of their social media campaigns and stuff like that, but you can tell, I know that the photos that you took, especially of the baristas and people working there, it wasn't just of pictures of coffee. Like, it was hands and people working, and it showed like real life like stuff, which I think a lot of products, can we put that in quotes, product photography is just of the product, but what brought a lot of their stuff to life, which you did a great job of, was showing it in action, I guess.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I think John, the owner, is able to utilize everyone else's kind of like social media pictures that they're taking like while they're at Onyx. So it was nice to kind of like put my touch on, you know, photos that I was taking for them to be able to utilize for their social media, because I tend to focus all on people. That's what I love, and that's what I'm drawn to in photography. And so getting to like tell their stories through the people that work there, I think was a really cool thing, and looks really great in my portfolio too. So that helps.
Take a little bit back for yourself too. That's all right.
Yeah.
It's all right. So let's talk real quick. I guess, I mean, really, I've known you since college, but really tell us your story of how you got, well, to where you are right now.
Yeah. I feel like that's such a loaded question because there's so much that has gone into like this whole process. I didn't like, as a kid, I never thought, oh, I want to be a graphic designer. Like, I didn't even know what that was. I actually thought, so I had been singing since I was like 4 at church, growing up. And so throughout like my whole childhood and like adolescent years, I thought that I wanted to be a singer. And so I went into summer school after graduating in 2008 and started to do a music degree, and took like fundamentals of music and literally like absolutely hated it with everything that was in me. And so I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I have to get out. And I just knew that like I drew a lot as a kid, and I was like always like rearranging my room. Like, I enjoyed that. Like, that's not like something that a typical child I think does, but like I loved like layout of things and color, and so yeah, after I quit, I honestly, I can't, people ask me this story, and I try so hard to think of like the person that told me about like graphic design, but I just remember looking on the like course catalog at UFIS in Fort Smith, where I went to school, and I saw, you know, graphic design, and I looked at it, and I was like, the description was like, I was like, okay, I mean, like, maybe I'll like this. And there was one spot left in all of the classes that I needed to like enroll in for the fall. And so I just did it. And like one of my very first classes was typography, like beginning to type, and not like typing, but like fonts and, you know, the history of typography and font faces. And I like died. I was like loving every second of it. And so it was from then that I just like, I mean, I stuck with it. The first semester was great. And then, you know, I actually quit after 2 years. Well, I say I quit. I graduated after 2 years and got my associate's degree, and then worked as a designer, and that was like 2.5 years, and then I actually went back to school and got my bachelor's. So it was really those last 2 years. I had met one of my best friends, Saxon Campbell, who lived in New York, came back. He has family in Oklahoma. He started working at UFIS, and I was the student designer when I went back to school that second time. And he like really pushed me as a designer and just like as a person. He's very talented. And he was a huge deal of why I actually like bought my first camera and started doing photography. It was in 2012 that I got my first camera, and I really just had the intention of taking photos for my own like design projects. I didn't think that it was going to go anywhere in terms of like taking pictures of people or families, and so that's kind of when it started, and then it just blew up. And so like that's why I say like this whole process has been insane, because like I didn't expect any of it, and now I feel like photography is such a huge part of my life that I can't imagine myself like doing anything else, you know. I mean, I love all things creative, but photography has kind of like taken precedence over all of it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I literally started taking photos so I could put something on my walls, because like I needed something. And I lived in West Virginia, so I was like, there's mountains up here. I can take a photo and put it on my wall. So I got a nice camera, and that's how it started.
I think that's like a lot of the times how it starts out. Like, I didn't take classes for it, and I've met a ton of photographers who like, you know, they've taught themselves and just kind of like happened on a whim type of thing, and, you know, did it for like reasons just for themselves, you know, and just to learn another skill, essentially, and then it just, you know, just blows up like out of nowhere.
That's crazy. That's crazy. That's so cool. I actually did not know that, so that's pretty cool.
There you go.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, okay, so the second part of this, because we want to look at some of your awesome work, and I want you to talk to us too a little bit about Unsplash as we kind of go through some of these. But we wanted to, let's see if I can pull up the images here. So the first image is looks like some of your friends, maybe, of you guys at an old abandoned gas station. Talk to us about this photo.
So first of all, I guess just, how I got started with Unsplash was I was using Unsplash in college, and that's when I had started photography. So I had never thought I was good enough to like upload photos to Unsplash. I knew that people could do it, but I was like, that's not for me. Like, I'm not a professional, no one's going to like download my photos. And it wasn't until a year in working at Black Box that I uploaded my very first photo, and that was in June of 2015. So I've been contributing since then. And this was actually one of the first. It wasn't the first, but it was pretty early on that I uploaded this. And yeah, these were actually 4 girls that I met right as soon as I moved to Fayetteville. I had prayed so hard for like good girlfriends, and I had such a good community in Fort Smith. Leaving the college ministry was really hard for me. So meeting these girls, it was such a random thing too, but I ended up just being like, hey, like, do y'all want to like go on a photo shoot? Like, let's go take pictures. And they were all for it. Of course, what girl doesn't want their like photos taken for free, and so I was like, at the time, Black Box, the agency I worked for, was actually on that road. Like, if you keep going south, like in Greenland, it's like at an old or an airplane hangar. That's where like our offices were. And so on the way to work every day, I would see this gas station, or it's like not a gas station anymore, it's abandoned. And I was like, that would be such a cool place to take photos. Like, just, it's old and like run down. And so I was like, let's just go and see if like we can get some cool shots. And so we did. And actually we were only there for like 10 minutes, maybe, like not even, because a cop came by and was like, because obviously there's like no trespassing signs, but I was like, whatever, like it's right off the highway. Like, we're not doing anything like that. And so he was like, what are you guys doing? And I was like, oh, well, we're just taking some photos, just having fun. And he was like, well, this is a no trespassing zone and you guys need to leave. And I was like, okay. So we like watched the cop like drive away very slowly. And then I'm like, okay, well, let's take a few more. So they're like, this was actually like the last photo that I took that day. And it is one of the most downloaded photos on my Unsplash account. I don't know. I could look it up, I guess, but I don't know exactly how many times it's been downloaded. But it's been used for so many things.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That
is so cool. Actually, so let's look at I think I have the first. Yeah. So the first photo, and you told me this before we started recording, but it's a girl beside a sign that says no left turn.
Yeah. So this was actually the very first photo that I uploaded, and I like died over this shot just because I like, with the last one, I think something about me is like, I hate shooting in places that like everyone shoots at. I know that sounds like so hipster to say, but like I just like to find locations that like are going to have good light, or, just a unique space. And this particular like photo, I just like, with the light and just like her skin glowing in the like dress and how it's like flowy and just those shadows that it's producing on the wall. I loved it so much. And this was just a shoot where I had found her on social media randomly. She lived in Fayetteville, and at the time Black Box was doing a side project called Southern Swim, and I asked her to like be a model for Southern Swim, which was like a bathing suit line. And so she did a shoot with us like one day for that. And then I was like, do you want to like go shoot with me outside of this? Like, not for Black Box, just like for me. And I have this thing, that I'm like, I might want to start uploading photos to, and it was Unsplash. And I was so nervous to upload it, but it just from there has exploded. And I get so many so many emails about people just feeling really like engaged with my photos. And I love that. Like, that's like my intention. I don't want to just take photos just to take them like for no purpose. Like, I love the stories behind the people that I'm shooting and like what that photo, you know, like means to me, and how it can like touch someone else's life. So that sounds cheesy, but
no, that makes sense.
They really feel like engaged with it, and I really love that. So
that's awesome. And there's so much going on in this photo. I mean, especially with the shadows and the light and the way, I mean, to be honest with you, the way, let's see if I can, yeah, nice. So just the way that the light is even hitting her, like the direction of it, but yet you still keep everything in the foreground and like exposed well. I mean, there's a lot that's going into that. It really, it evokes a lot of emotion. So that's pretty awesome. And especially since it was the first one that that got uploaded. That's obviously a little nerve wracking whenever you first do that.
It is. It really is. Oh, sorry.
Oh, you're good. All right, so let's go on to this photo of. This is obviously not in Arkansas. It's a bunch of sand, it looks like. I say it's not in Arkansas. Is this in Arkansas?
So this is in Joplin.
Oh,
and
okay.
Literally everyone that looks at this photo like thinks I'm in the desert, which I love.
Yeah.
Because that was the whole reason I wanted to do this shoot in the first place. I wanted to find like big sand piles, and I was like, where am I going to find that in Arkansas, you know, or like anywhere close to here?
Yeah.
And I had just like seen some photos that really inspired me, and so this girl in these photos I used to work with at Black Box, she's now in Nashville, but she was like, well, I'm from Joplin, and there's these like chat piles. And I was like, what the heck are chat piles? She's like, well, let me just show you a picture of it. And so she shows me, and I'm like, we have to go. And so we did, and it was like perfect timing at like sunset. I mean, the colors were great, and I had just gotten that blanket from a friend, and I like just loved like, I don't know, just like the lifestyle shots that like, it doesn't make sense that she's like carrying a blanket in the middle of a sand pile, you know, but like, it just looks cool. And so, yeah, that was a really fun day. We ate pizza afterwards, and it was awesome. So most of my shoots are like with my friends, and just because I want to like go on an adventure. Like, I just want to have fun and do what I love, which is taking photos of people, because the hour or however long we're shooting, I'm getting to like chat with them too, and like know them more. And the drive up there, you know, and the drive back, like it's just a way to like build community too for me. And that's one of my favorite things to do. So yeah,
that's
that was
awesome.
A great day.
That is so cool. That is very, very cool. Okay, so let's see. We've got, I think we have, let me double check here. Oh yeah, so the hand-holding picture, which is pretty cool.
Yes, this is still one of my very favorite photos that I've ever taken. This is actually also with a person that I used to work with. It's not the girl in the photo, but it's the guy holding her hand. Zane Kaiser. He's an amazing illustrator and artist, designer.
Yes. Yeah. He designed one of my more favorite, it's a bear claw. I think it's for... Yeah, that's amazing. Sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. I was really blessed to get to work with him just because he's very talented. Anyways, he asked me to take pictures of his surprise proposal to his now wife. And we went to Lake Fayetteville. We went to some other places too, but we ended up here like for the first pictures were just supposed to be like, they already knew that they were going to be like married, but they wanted like pictures together, and she hadn't had a ring or anything. So it was very like, you know, untraditional, non-traditional. And so we ended up at Lake Fayetteville. She has no idea that this is going to like turn into a proposal. And I had shown her this shot that I wanted to get, and it's this shot essentially, and so she turns around, and he is so nervous about this that like we spend probably 3 minutes in this position trying to like get the right photo, but mainly because he was like freaking out and trying to like find the nerve to, like, when she turned around, he was going to, like, drop on one knee and give her the ring.
Yeah.
And so she just, like, are you done yet? Like, hold her hand back.
That's so great.
And I was like, no, not yet. I'm sorry. Like, it's not in focus or whatever, like I said. And so, yeah, so he finally, like, got the nerve and, like, gave me the, like, okay. And I was like, okay, like, I'm done. You can turn around now. And he, like, got down on one knee and proposed. So that was just, like, a really cool story. But also, that was at the time that Unsplash had rolled out their, like, their stories kind of application or whatever. It's like an aspect of their website now that photographers who are contributors can upload their photos, and if they choose to, they can, like, add a story with it and they'll, like, feature it. And so this one was, like, one of the, I think it was maybe either the first or one of the first ones to be featured on their, like, stories, which was kind of too. So
that is crazy. That is so cool. And I've actually I mean, that pose right there tells so much. I'm going to go back to it. It tells, like, so much in one just... I mean, there really is a 1,000 words in that photo. I mean, there's so many things that you could get out of that photo. You know, obviously, like, we're going somewhere and something's happening. Or young love, like, adventure because it's on the water. I mean, there's so many things about it. So that is awesome. Yeah. I love it. Yeah. Okay, so I have to ask you this because I'm sure everyone who is listening to this is wondering. But so so you're an ambassador, right?
Yes.
And so that's obviously not entry level. Is that what does it mean exactly to be a contributor / ambassador with Unsplash? So if I wanted my photos to be on Unsplash, how would I be able to get them up there?
So actually, the funny thing about Unsplash, or the great thing really, is because in 2014, when I didn't think I was a good photographer at all, I could have still uploaded my photos to Unsplash. Unsplash, it's filtered, so they have to approve them, but most of the time, you're approved. Like, I've known other people who are just starting that, like, upload their photos and look so different than mine, but not in a bad way, just different, and I mean, anybody can upload. So if you're a photographer out there who's just starting out, like, go ahead and just upload your photos. It's free for anybody to use in the entire world, commercial or personal use, which is, it just creates such a good creative community.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a user for years before I, started uploading. So I was a contributor for a couple of years before I got asked to be an ambassador. And being an ambassador has been, like, the easiest thing, just because, like, I love the community anyway. So I'm, like, a representative of Unsplash. So pretty much, like, I'm telling everyone, go use it. Like, be a part of that community. Like, we're on Slack. You can talk directly to the people that are on the Unsplash team in Canada. Like, that's so cool.
That is,
and they're just all really down to earth. It's a super small team, but Annie Spratt and one of my, I call him my friend, but he's, like, just a social media friend. I've never met the guy, but his name's Andrew Neal. He just got on their team as well, and there's just some really awesome people that are doing great things. They literally just today rolled out their app, and I'm so stoked about it. I posted about it earlier. But yeah, so now so right now the app is only for contributors to upload photos, but eventually, I'm not sure how long it's going to take, but eventually it'll be a full-fledged app where you can do everything that you can do on the web on this app. So searching for photos and uploading and downloading. So that'll be a really great thing.
That's awesome. Actually,
I don't remember the actual question.
Ambassadorship. Yeah. No, actually, I pulled it up because I wanted to take a look at it. So let's see if we can actually pull up some of your photos here. Brooke Cagle, 12 photos. Yes. Oh, snap. But it's really cool because it has, I mean, for anybody who hasn't been on here, I mean, there's just some amazing things. Oh, there's the actual photo. So 239 likes on that one, 278. You have quite a few that people have really liked, and they obviously put it in different collections, or I guess categories.
Yeah, there's collections that people can make. Like, I see all the time now, I get notifications that people are adding my photos to like a people collection or like portraits collection. And so anytime I'm up, like all of my photos are of people, and so they're all getting added to these collections of like girls or fashion or whatever. And then also it's their API or interface for the user is really cool. On my side as a contributor, I can go on and like my profile will show me like right now I'm on it and it says, my total views are like 105 million, and this is in the last 30 days.
Wow. That's crazy.
So, and my downloads are 777,000. So it's really cool to just be able to like see like how I'm impacting, you know, the world, like with my photography. It's so cool. And people ask me a lot if I get credited or if I get, you know, paid or whatever, like, and that seems to be a really big deal to a lot of people. Like, you should get paid for that or whatever. And I'm like, I think it's great that people, you know, think that I'm good enough to get paid. I love that. And I love people that like, you know, think that way. But I originally intentionally like got on Unsplash because I loved the free aspect of the community. Like, I was using those photos and not paying the photographers, but I was able to create these beautiful, like, you know, designs or whatever because of this photography. Like, good photography makes or break designs sometimes. Yeah. And so I don't mind that I'm not getting paid, but also, like, to counter that, I've gotten paid gigs off of my Unsplash. I get countless amounts of emails like asking me to like partner with these brands or you know, whatever, and I've gotten published in Nylon magazine and
is that the train?
Yeah, can you hear it?
Yeah.
It was so loud.
That's
it comes
awesome.
by like every 6 minutes or so.
That's awesome.
But yeah,
honestly, I think it's awesome because this is something that I think our generation understands, is that if you give to the world, and not saying that, I mean, obviously terrible things happen and bad situations happen, but for the most part, if you give, people will give back. And people will take notice. And so, I mean, actually, this is not the first podcast that I have done, and it's led me to networking events and other people and people who have poured themselves into my business and helped me out in other areas just because I was willing to like give content. And that's exactly what you're doing, and it'll pay for itself. And honestly, I mean, it's an awesome contribution, even if it doesn't. I mean, it's an awesome contribution to the world, and honestly, good photography, good design, and that way, we have to kill stock photos. We have to. They're just terrible.
Kill it. Yeah, and it's just all about connections too. I feel like I've thought that for so long, and I'm such a fan of just like connecting with people that like, because I'm talking to these people that, you know, from this amazing community, I'm talking to other photographers, and I'm talking with the people that started this company. You know, I've talked with them about a job before, and so eventually, who knows, like, I would go to Canada, you know, and like work for Unsplash. Like, I love them, like, just because they have this great community. So just making connections is always great. And yeah, just, you don't always have to like get something to give. And
absolutely. Well, all right, hey, thank you so much for sharing that. We're gonna do something real quick. It's our lightning round, just to get to learn a little bit about you before we wrap up. So, all right, here we go. Are you ready?
Okay. I don't know. Am I?
You're like excited. All right, so tell us, what was your very first camera?
Canon T3i Rebel.
Boom.
Yeah.
That was an XTI. That's nice. Okay. What is your current camera?
Canon 6D with a 50 millimeter Art Series Sigma.
That is a very good lens. Absolutely.
I love it.
Favorite non-camera piece of equipment?
Non-camera piece of equipment. Okay, so something about this is like a lightning round, but like, I don't use like anything else. I literally just bring my camera to every shoot. So I would say the people.
I didn't. I did not expect to hear that, but that makes sense.
Because I don't use tripods. I don't use you know, I don't even know terms for it really, because I'm not like a professional. Like I've literally taught myself, so that's really all I use.
That's so funny. That's awesome.
Maybe at a
this is why
we say a flash.
There you go. A flash, a strobe. You've used strobes before, so yeah.
At Blackbox, I guess.
There you go. This is why we love you, Brooke Cagle. This is why. All right, so who would be your favorite photographer?
Oh gosh, I have so many. It's like on Instagram now. I have like I love Melissa Marshall. Keely Montoya is a local from Fayetteville. She's phenomenal. Tanya Hefner's also in Fayetteville. Ben Sasso is like bigger. I love him. His like posing is really cool because it's very unconventional. And he like does the weirdest stuff, but I always think like, why can't I can't get people to like move their hands like in positions and it look cool, but he does it really well. So I get a lot of inspiration from him.
Nice. All right. Do you have a favorite editing hack at all?
I do all my editing in Lightroom. So I don't really feel like I have a bunch of like hacks. I don't, and I think a thing that people tend to get surprised about me with photography is that I don't edit a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
I have like presets that I use from the Tribe Arpeggio, and I pretty much just like customize that versus like what the lighting situation is.
Mm-hmm.
But I use the same like preset like almost for every photo. So my editing is very like minimal, I would say.
Yeah. That looks good, though. That's awesome. Thanks. Well, hey, so where can people find you if they wanted to check out your work or your design stuff, I guess, in general, or whatever?
I would say definitely check out my website at brookecagledesign.com. And that has some of my photos, my design. I also started a blog not too long ago of kind of like more personal life stuff. Mm-hmm. And then it has my resume and contact. So if you're ever wanting to do a shoot, let me know. Reach out. I'm in Iowa now, but I'm willing to travel. So just, hit me up. And then you can check me out on Instagram at Brooke Cagle Photography or Brooke and Cagle. I have two. So
nice. Awesome. Well, hey, thank you so much for hanging out with us, and we appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be a part of it. Thanks for having me.